Easter afternoon, following our midday meal, my uncle fell asleep on my bed in the other room. When we heard him stirring, awakening from his nap, I watched my partner of a few months, a man also in his 50s, walk from the kitchen into the bedroom with a glass of water, clinking with ice like a crude pilgrim's bell. He brought it to my uncle, who I heard drinking it down greedily. I recognized that act of bringing the water when it wasn't asked for as a domestic scene that would forever haunt me, in a good way, one that would become family lore. As my aunt and uncle buttoned their coats at my door, and I handed them shopping bags of the now empty trays and pots in which they brought much of the food, they thanked me for him. Anybody who would do that for your uncle is a kind person, my aunt said. We like him. We hope it lasts between you. And you noticed he took 2.5 helpings of my spinach pie. I conveyed their praise to him later in the evening, after we'd quenched our thirsts for one another and napped together. We sat at the table devouring leftovers, appetites renewed. When a person wakes up, especially if they're old, they're thirsty, he said, which sounded like a parable. It was so true and resonant. That glass of water proved to be the best gift he gave to me and my family during the half year we lasted as a couple. He had likely learned this task from his prior relationship, a marriage, to a now deceased man 36 years his senior, a dynamic that troubled me the moment I learned of it our first date. He kept other habits too from his past. But it was that deceased man who continued to haunt me, perhaps actually for the time we were together. The lease to the Park Avenue apartment he had inherited and shared with the older man was so vast it could be measured in acres instead of rooms. I never felt welcome there, hushed like an historic house museum, velvet draperies drawn, corpse of a stilled Steinway, keyboard shut, photos of them together and separate staring from the walls, the late one's cufflinks scattered atop the dresser, the faux jewels winking reminders. And as a centerpiece in the living room, his dead self, an urn of ashes. Some evenings, when together in his bedroom, which had been their room, the taps in the bath might suddenly flow, the shower spray. From a back pantry or within the maze of the maid's wing, I'd hear someone, so I thought, though I was told it was just the century-old building taking breaths. I've lived here decades, he said, swiping his phone screen as he did every free moment. I know the sounds. But he added nonchalantly, the apartment is haunted. While he didn't necessarily believe in ghosts, he did in the spirit of his former watching over him. So devoted was he to his memory that I wasn't allowed even to recline on his side of the bed. We'd pass certain restaurants where he would look longingly to a table at which they dined. I often felt he was being unfaithful to me, with someone who was dead, and who accompanied us every date, mealtimes during episodes of Downton Abbey. But his phone screen betrayed the living phantoms that ultimately scared us apart. Anonymous faces and torsos he was meeting online, offline. When I learned about his, as he admitted, compulsion, a habit long honed, I broke it off between us immediately. His former open relationship closed ours. He now haunts my apartment. Ever since that Easter afternoon, I had been thinking, someday far in the future, that we might be bringing one another a glass of cold water upon awakening from the nap.